What's going on, Niner fam? It is Peter Lucas. I got with me Nate. No social media, Nate. And but today we got NFL playoffs to talk about, and specifically, we're going to talk about this 49er Dallas game. So sit back, relax, bring your questions and your comments, and hit the music. Once again, it's Peter Lucas. I got with me no social media, Nate. We got today. This is the Niner Fanatic podcast, and before I get into it, Nate, what's going on? And tell everybody where they can't find you on the socials.
Is this still football season? I'm wearing King stuff, man. What are we talking about today?
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah,
Just kind of pop on with Pete here. I'm not my social media has been down for a while. I'm not saying it's been down forever, but as of right now, I'm just kind of guesting with him every now and then when he has time, and that's about it, man. LA born, raised, go back a real long time with Pete, and we got back in touch, ironically enough, on social media.
Yeah,
a few years back. But anyways, just here to wrap it up with you guys a little bit. Talk about today's games and all that good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Nate is, just so everybody knows, Nate is a Ram fan. And if you hear my dog in the background, I mean, it is what it is. Like, he can't come in here right now. So, it's the playoffs. It is the divisional round. 49ers got we've already had most of the games for the week. But the 49ers have the most, to me, our most hated rival in the Dallas Cowboys. And it's right now, I think the Bengals are up last time I looked, it was 14-0, but it might be different. 14-7 now, against the Bills. But I think that's gonna end up being a close game. But we saw that the Eagles just mollywhopped the Giants yesterday, and I mean, it went as kind of how I thought it was going to go. I just thought it was too much to hope for, that the Giants would find a way to knock out the Eagles, but it is what it is. And then you had the Jacksonville get beat by Kansas City and limping around Mahomes. Which, I mean, I think it's a year too early, at least for Jacksonville. So, but they had an admirable performance. But what did you think about the game so far this week, Nate?
I think we got exactly what we thought we were going to get. The Jags, they hung tough. They're a scrappy little team, but like you said, they're just they're a little bit short, but they're on the way. If they keep doing it right, we should get these guys up here with the Bengals and the Bills and all that stuff, if they keep playing their cards right. But yeah, Kansas City, just too much KC. Even with Mahomes limped out a little bit, they just had enough to handle an upstart team. Nothing shocked me about that game at all. And nor did the Eagles game. You and I discussed before what a paper tiger Minnesota was, arguably the worst 13-win team in the history of the NFL. Soft as pudding, man. Yeah. And the guys went in there and just handled them. None of us were shocked by that. So coming into the Philly game, I didn't even give them a tiny chance, and they showed it. Phillies, it's a complete team. They can get you at every level. They got guys that can make plays at every level, offensively and defensively. That defense is very complete. That pass rush is, they had 4 guys with 11 sacks or more.
70 sacks total.
Yeah. And I think they pushed for the Bears record, didn't they? They got pretty close.
Yeah, they did. Like,
Yeah.
but I didn't think anybody would get close to that.
And Jones, I mean, the Giants' lack of a true go-to anything outside of Saquon really showed. I mean, the Eagles just kind of toyed with them, dude. I mean, it was really, it was pretty ugly. Yeah.
Vanilla Vic got brought back down to earth, and
yeah,
it really was not a game. Luckily, I was doing a podcast during the game, so I didn't have to watch the abysmal performance. But today, in a couple of hours, we've got 49ers Cowboys, my favorite rivalry, my most hated enemy, the Cowboys. And I think all of us, I don't want to say older, but more experienced, will say, fans know understand this rivalry and the vitriol that comes with it. It's just all kinds of hate. And I mean, social media has been going crazy all week. Cowboy fans think that they're the most talented team in the league. They think they're always the most talented team in the league. There's no difference there, but what's your initial impressions about how this game is going to go, Nate? I'm interested to hear from a Ram fan's perspective.
I think it's 100% you guys. I really do. The Cowboys, look, let me give them some props. Sorry, Niners fans, I have to do it. Okay, they had injury to Dak. Rush went 4-1, 5-1. They hung through a quarterback injury, which is very, very tough to do. They played in arguably the most competitive division in the NFL, right up there with the AFC East as far as records, top to bottom, teams beating each other.
Mm-hmm.
They hung tough, and I'll give them props for that. There's no question about that. They earned their place where they're at today. What they did to the Bucs was no shock. We all knew that team was going to get thumped. Brady's magic is over, at least in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
So that was nobody I think even slightly gasped to see that game happen that way. But coming into you guys, I don't see how they do it. They just don't have the players, players at every level. I mean, they push Zeke, but Pollard's a better back. You got Lamb. Really, Gallup kind of died out. Schultz is a decent tight end. They have a good offensive line. They have for a while. Defensively, of course, number 11 is going to create some havoc. He's going to make some plays. There's no way around that. But if you talk about player for player, 22 guys on 22 guys, I just don't see how they hang with you for 4 quarters. Really, the only way that I see it happening where they beat you is, one, Dak's got to lose his colorblind problem that he has. He's got to get rid of that 23 touchdowns, 15 pick guy. Cannot be that guy. He's got to be the guy he was last week against a formerly great and very broken down Bucs defense. He's got to be that guy. He's got to be perfect. He cannot turn the ball over more than once. He cannot do any of the things that he's prone to doing. If they get sloppy with you guys at all, it's going to be rough. Defensively, and I'm just talking about them. I'll get into you guys after this. Yeah. Well, we're talking about your opponent.
I know we're not immune. So it's
no. Well, I don't know. In this game, you feel pretty immune, but the defensively, Parsons is going to do his thing. Where they got Lawrence, a couple other guys. They can rush the passer okay, but again, pretty soft at linebacker. Blandon, Diggs are decent corners, solid corners, but you guys don't play that game. This is not a push the ball downfield team. You're not playing the Bengals. You're not playing a team that likes to, shove the ball downfield. The Niners are efficient. They play small ball. They make big plays when they can. They set you up for big plays because they have a team full of Swiss Army players all over their field. And they don't have to spread you out. So what Dallas does well on defense doesn't really play into beating you, and I just don't see how that works out for them. Again, it would have to be something gets to Purdy. He finally shows that he's a human being, in a big playoff game. Some sort of unforeseen thing that we just haven't seen from him yet. Or again, somehow their pass rush going from solid to great. And I can't see what the thing would be that would create a win for them here. Again, barring some sort of a meltdown or something unforeseen happening with you guys.
Yeah.
As far as you go,
wait, before you get into us, first thing first, I forgot to mention, hey, make sure that you like this video. Make sure that you give it make sure that you give us a subscribe. Make sure that you hit the bell notification so that you get the notifications for when we go live. Also, you can find this on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and anywhere where you can get your audio podcast. So I don't care where you get it, just get it. And once again, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend so that we can be friends every week. And and I want to give my rebuttal to what you said about the Cowboys. I see, and this is the thing. I have tremendous respect for the Cowboy players. Like, they have a lot, they always have good talent. 49ers or the Cowboys always have good talent on the squad. They've never hurt for talent on that team. The question has always been with the Cowboys with execution, mistakes, penalties historically. Now, with that being said, they're averaging 2 less penalties a game this season. They've gotten a lot better in that regard. However, they've still been wishy-washy. One game they start, one day they're world beaters. The next game they're almost getting beat by the Texans. And that's the story of the Cowboy. Which Cowboy team is going to show up? And I completely 100% agree with what you said about how they match up against the 49ers, because in my mind, the way I've looked at this matchup all week is the fact that the 49ers want to punch you in the mouth. We're a physical team. Like, that's what we do. And now all of a sudden they've gotten this humongous explosion of offense, and that we're to the point to where we're averaging like almost 35 points a game. And before, the way to beat us was to just last out Jimmy, is to just stop Jimmy. Just don't let you just make sure the run game doesn't beat you, and then Jimmy's going to make mistakes. Well, that's no longer that hasn't been an issue, and now you're going to have to score with us. Mm-hmm. And so that becomes a big issue. And like you said, do the Cowboys have the players and the system? I think the key is the system and the execution to make it happen, because I question that. And then also do the 49, can they sit there and can they say, hey, well, we can do this one thing to shut down this aspect of the 49ers. 49ers have players everywhere. There's weapons everywhere on this team, and there's so much depth across the board. You're not going to be able to just take one person out of the game and then that's going to do it for the rest of the team. However, with the Cowboys, you take CeeDee Lamb out, and really what they've got Gallup and T.Y. Hilton and what's his name, Schwartz. But the reality is they don't have any really other world beaters. The running backs, okay, 49ers haven't given up a 70-yard rusher all season, which is a crazy stat. But yeah, they are a finesse team. They're a finesse team. We're a physical team. And the biggest thing is I just don't see how they're not going to get just beaten to a pulp in this game before the game is just over. But you go ahead and let me know about our team and see how you see how they see it from the outside.
Offensively, again, we touched on this, I don't know, a couple podcasts ago that I did with you, where we had to take into perspective who he was replacing. And basically, so now instead of it being the weakest link on your team, it's solid. And before anybody talks about Garoppolo's 16 touchdowns and 4 picks, Debo taking 7 slants and turning them into 40-yard touchdowns, we all know the weakest link on the Niners team every year has been Jimmy Garoppolo. And if he sees any team not wearing blue and yellow, he just has a tendency to not be the guy you need him to be. Purdy has erased all of that. You're seeing, Niners fans, you're seeing what you could have been. Now we can't, hang on now, maybe I should back up. We can't take away the Christian McCaffrey factor.
Yes.
You got a healthy, full speed Christian McCaffrey, which, I mean, God, now I wish we would have traded our team away to get him.
Yeah,
but,
no kidding.
But yeah, dude. I mean, he's doing everything that Garoppolo didn't. He's efficient with the ball. Kittle's suddenly back in this offense. Like, Kittle's a major factor again. Debo's doing what he does. He's taking the ball in space and making everybody pay for it. With his receiver hands and running back skills. I mean, it's a. And then you guys have all your little complimentary pieces that come in and do their little parts and pick up first downs and do the thing.
Ayuk is 1,000-yard receiver now. Like, so even he's stepped up. Yeah. He's gotten a chance to step up his game too.
Yeah. But he still kind of falls into that second tier on your team. I mean, he's not going to get that respect as long as Debo is doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
But I think really, like, the McCaffrey thing just can't be understated. I mean, that guy's been all over the field, man. I mean, he's been the runner you need. They put him out wide. They put him in the slot. They roll him out of the backfield. He's in the flats. He's running wheel routes. Like, I mean, it's just anything and everything that you ever wanted to get from that kid, you're getting it. So yeah, I mean, you've become a complete team offensively, and luckily for you, the other side of the ball is the best in the league. So you don't have to worry about, generally speaking, you don't have to worry about shootouts, as far as this week goes, at least, because I think we'll get into Philly later. I think Philly matches up really, really well with you guys. You're very similar. But as far as Dallas goes, yeah, man, like, again, you're going to force Prescott into making mistakes. Can I see them making you guys sweat for a half or making it look interesting? Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think ultimately, like you said, the beat down of your defense, your pass rush, you're going to force the mistakes. You guys know you can key on CeeDee Lamb. Schultz is okay, but he's not going to tear you up. Gallup's been a little bit hobbled. He's down. T.Y. Hilton's definitely on the 9th hole of his back nine.
Yeah.
Or sorry, I should take that back. The 18th hole of his back nine. And, he's yeah, I mean, it would be a Dallas miracle to see them walk out of Levi with a win. I just can't. I literally can't see it happening. Like I said, barring some anomaly, something unforeseen. Purdy getting limped up, somebody getting hurt. I just can't. Barring something that isn't on the paper coming into the game, there's just I would give Dallas about a 5% chance to win this game.
Yeah, I look at it's just like what you just said. I can't see it. I can't see the lot, but the reason why I can't see it is because the 49ers play their game that the Cowboys don't match up. Mm-hmm. But there's always the threat of Shanahan thinking that he's smarter than everybody and trying some stuff that doesn't need to be tried. And I think we've seen it the last couple of games is that, our identity, the 49ers identity is running the ball, smash mouth football. But you can see now that he has Purdy throwing the ball, Shanny is itching to make this, to explode this passing game out. But the last two games, they've started out firing. At firing on pass plays, and then they keep the team sticks around in the first half, and then in the second half they go back to running the ball, and then they end up blowing the other team out. But I'm just hoping that Shanny realizes that Cowboys are not a good run defense. They haven't been all season. They're good at rushing the passer. Okay, but if we can keep them off balance with the run game, I think that is the ace in the hole, is that there's just not a lot of teams that can run the ball like the 49ers in as creative ways as they do out of the same formation. I mean, they run with 21 personnel more than any team in the league. And it's just crazy.
And what you can do with small passes too, with guys like McCaffrey and Debo making people miss. That's the thing too. Like, what you're able to do with the short passing game, creating long plays out of what should be, just keeping yourselves on schedule kind of plays. You know what I mean? Like that's such a huge factor for you guys. I mean, it's,
And
as a Rams fan,
and
it's very painful to watch.
and then there's the McCaffrey factor. It goes beyond just it being Christian McCaffrey and him giving us a guy that can catch the ball and run the ball. He forced Shanahan to start using his running backs in the passing game, because before McCaffrey got there, we never used our backs in the passing game ever.
Not really.
Like literally, we would pass maybe 2 times a game, and now that's a major part of the offense. Now they're splitting him out wide and then pulling Debo back into the backfield, and then or vice versa. Like and it's just with all the motion and the guys going in the misdirection. It's how do you defend it, because you've got to guard one direction or the other.
Well, he might have had like kind of like a coming to moment when Purdy got entered into the game, because now as a head coach, you're seeing a rookie quarterback, a late round pick, a guy who you clearly thought was worthy to be on your roster, but you weren't in any way, shape, or form playing at all. And so, of course, you're going to try to get Kittle on some shorter routes. You're going to try to get McCaffrey more involved. You want to give him some short game to play with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just try to keep him comfortable, give him some outlets, and let guys make plays in space. And it started working so well that now he's begun to formulate better ways to even do that stuff. I think what started as like a security blanket turned into another identity for your offense.
Yeah.
Back to your pushing the ball in the field thing and trying to open the offense up. Purdy's a great kid, smart as heck, efficient. He does not have a big arm. I don't think that Shanahan's going to get caught up in trying to lob 60-foot balls over the top of Diggs' head into Debo on a 9 route. I just don't. I don't see that happening.
It won't be like that.
No, I don't think he's going to get too far out of whack here. I just don't. And I think Shanahan knows that with the ups and downs of your franchise since he's been there, and the Super Bowl loss to KC, the thing with us last year getting real close, and now you're here again, definitely as one of the top 3 teams in the league right now, top 4, somewhere right in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
This game that's going on right now, both those teams can play pretty good too, but
yeah,
it's you guys are definitely right up there, at the top of the power rankings. And I think he knows that he kind of has lightning in a bottle right now. And I think Shanahan's really wants this bad, man. Like, I don't think he's been a little guilty of trying to play the long game. And I think that's frustrated you guys as fans, and Lynch too, in the roles that he plays in the team. They just sort of had this weird long game plan. I think now you're here, now you're hot. I would be stunned to see him change up too much and try to get too cute. Now coming into next season, maybe he tries to get a little cuter, but I think right now,
beginning of every season that happens.
Yeah, he's going to roll with what he's got, what's working, and make the Cowboys beat you guys doing what's been working for you. I can't see him getting too wild, dude. I just can't.
Yeah. I have faith that Kyle will make the necessary adjustments, even if it doesn't work out right away, because what Kyle does, and he's always done this, is that he's going to try his stuff in the beginning. He's going to throw out some feeler plays and to see how your defense reacts. And then he's going to use your defense's rules and your scheme against you, and start calling plays to suck the defenders in and use a lot of decoys, a lot of eye candy, like to get to suck your defense in. And then all of a sudden there's like 2 guys that are just wide the hell open. And it's going to happen over and over and over again. And there's literally nothing you can do it, because it's the rules of your defense. It's that guy's response that he's working off of the defender's responsibilities. And that's what makes that offense so special. And now he gets caught up sometimes with using it so much that he doesn't take advantage of blatant mismatches, but it's a small price to pay. Like when the offense is working, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. And the thing about Purdy is not that he has a big arm, like it's that he trusts in what he sees. Jimmy never trusted in what he saw pre-snap.
No.
He would sit there, he would hike it, and then he'd tap dance and wait for guys to get open. But by that time, it's too late. The window's already closed. Purdy is throwing with anticipation because he's trusting. He's making his reads pre-snap. He's looking off defenders and then throwing with anticipation to the guy he knows is going to be open. And then sometimes guys just pop open. The play isn't even designed to go to that person, and he just throws it. He just throws it up. The Jennings play last week was a big example of that. Jennings wasn't supposed to be open on that play, and he just threw it, and that's why it was so short, is because he didn't have time to really set his feet, and that's where the arm strength thing comes in. But I commend him for just throwing it. In the past, Jimmy wouldn't have even thrown it.
He has quarterback IQ. He has anticipation. He can see the field well. You know, I mean, he started for a long time in college. And I know, you talk about college, he played in the Big 12, Iowa State, whatever. But, dude, he got a lot of reps. Like, I think he was a 3 or 4 year starter there. I mean, he was there a long time. The kid's played a lot of football. Of football. He wasn't just some guy who had an amazing junior year, and boom, here he is, This guy's got a lot of experience playing at an upper level of college football. He comes into the NFL. And again, like you said, it's a perfect scenario for this kid. You guys are built to nurse your quarterback. So with the kid that's actually smart and efficient and able to run an offense, well, you're seeing it, dude. You're seeing it right now. I mean, you're seeing what arguably could have been,
Yeah, with the other, I mean,
Sure.
if we had this kid, even because we have way more weapons now than we had before with Jimmy G. And so, and to Jimmy's credit, Jimmy looked really, this season was probably the best he looked, with no OTAs, no training camp, no nothing. And a lot of us are giving Brian Greasy a lot of credit because this is his first year being the quarterback's coach. They bring him in, and Jimmy looks great coming out the gate, like after Trey gets hurt. And I don't really think Trey really got an opportunity to show what he can do, so I didn't even want to mention him. But and then Brock comes out, a 7th round rookie, and he's doing what he's doing. So I still give Greasy a lot of credit, but I want to talk a little bit about the injuries for each team. The 49ers, this has got to be the healthiest that I've ever seen this team in the playoffs. They have, I mean, Jimmy's out and Amber Thomas. And, and our guys that are on IR already, Ridgeway, Trey, and Emmanuel Mosley, those guys, which are really key pieces, but I mean, we haven't seen them since the beginning of the season. So, I mean, it's really not even necessary to mention them, even though they would have been big parts of the team. But you got Dallas their Jason Peters it looks like he's not going to play, which that he was, I think he was a big pickup for them because their offensive line was struggling midseason. And they picked him up. He kind of solidified that line a little bit. Then they brought back their other guy, Tyron Smith, and he's playing right tackle now instead of left tackle. And they've got a rookie playing left tackle. And right now I am like blanking on his name, but yeah, their offensive line's been shuffled around. It ought to be really interesting to see how that offensive line, I know that people are saying that their offensive line has been solid, but they're dinged up. They have no depth behind them. So if anybody gets dinged up in this game, it's going to be a problem. And especially with you got Bosa on the other side. But the other main piece that is still questionable, this is Jaron Curse, one of their safeties, who I think is a leader on their team. And he's a really good player. I wanted him in the offseason. I was hoping that the Cowboys would give up on him and that the 49ers would try and sign him for their strong safety spot. But it didn't end up happening. He went back to the Cowboys, but he's a really good player. He's a really good player, and like I said, he's a leader on that defense. I'm. It ought to be interesting to see how that affects their pass defense, because they've been giving up a lot of yards. That I know DVOA, all their yearly numbers they look good. The defense looks good, but if you look at their last 6 games, they gave up a whole bunch of yards to a whole bunch of nobodies.
Yeah.
So it ought to be interesting to see what. And yes, they're going to get sacks, but with the way the Niners offenses ran, I don't think that the whole sack thing becomes an issue like for the 49ers. How do you feel about their overall like defense and everything?
I think, like you said, it's definitely like a get to the quarterback defense. They don't play the run very well. They don't. Again, Diggs and Bland are solid corners.
Mm-hmm.
Curtis, I was actually, right before we did this, I checked the injury report, and NFL.com hadn't released it yet. So I had the injuries for every game but yours. So I didn't actually know that out. That is a loss. There's no question about it. What's the other kid? Wilson, I think, is the other kid's name, something like that.
Wilson for
Dallas. Their other safety.
Their safety. It's yes, it is Wilson.
Yeah.
I mean, their other safety really isn't that good.
Isn't that? I think he's more of like a run support guy. A lot of tackles.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, okay, devil's advocate. Maybe what Dallas does best with their safety situation is a little more underneath stuff. But again, I don't think that they have the horses. I just don't. And then, like you said, talking about the pass rush, they're not going to put Purdy in positions where he's going to be taking 7-step drops a lot, even 5. You're going to see a lot of 3-step pop, 3-step pop, 3-step pop, rollouts, play actions, the things that have been working for you guys. I mean, it's going to be, I think they're going to come out with the game plan they've had, and they're going to make Dallas stop it. And I don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. Again, I'm not saying you're going to go out. You guys are going to go out and pull a Philly on them. I'm not saying that it's going to be that easy, but I think definitely by the third quarter we'll have seen the tide shift, and it'll be all Niners from there on out. And I think it sets us up for again. I don't want to get ahead, but should that happen, I think it sets us up for a hell of an NFC Championship game, and that's a great matchup between two teams that fight pretty similar. So it's gonna be a good one, if that indeed does happen. But yeah, man, I will be stunned, like Jags beating the Chiefs stunned if that would have happened.
Yeah,
the Cowboys come out of this thing with a dub.
And
I know we're going to hang on. Wait. Line cue the Steve Young and Troy Aikman highlights. Cue them all.
Yeah.
Let's see Michael Irvin. Let's see Jerry Rice.
I will always say that Aikman was the most overrated Cowboy ever. Like, that guy was a beneficiary. Yeah. But what I will say is the Cowboys have talent. There's always the opportunity, because this is the NFL. Any given Sunday, all that good stuff. And it is the playoffs. So, I mean, anything can happen.
Sure.
I like you. I just feel like I'm not getting a worried feeling, which is really weird. Which is really weird for me before a game. I'm not. I'm more looking to see like how much, what this is going to look like, because all the talk all this week, no matter who wins, whether it's the Cowboys or the 49ers, the talk all this week is going to be who's going to get beat by Philadelphia, because Philadelphia looks like a juggernaut, all that because of the way they beat down the Giants. Well, it would be nice for the 49ers to come through and do the Cowboys like that, so that we could get some equal press for once. The last 2 weeks, we haven't gotten any publicity on Monday mornings, which is just weird. I just feel like they hate the 49ers. I feel like ESPN hates the 49ers. It's that East Coast bias. They're always talking about the Cowboys, always talking about the East Coast teams. And it's nonsense. That's why I wish and hope every day that that the 49ers go in and just bully these guys around. That's really what I want to see. And I think that's what a lot of 49er fans want to see.
Oh, I'm
But
sure.
yeah, I mean, I think that the opportunity is there. It's just about going in there with a business-like mindset and just doing it from the jump and just taking, because I will say what the thing about this offense is that it's consistent at this point. They're going to move the ball. They're going to move the ball. They're going to keep scoring points throughout the game, even though the game against Seattle was close at the half. They scored every quarter. They
Sure.
scored every quarter. And like in the past, that wasn't a thing. We would go quarters without scoring and we would do just enough to get the win. And now it's more of like, we're going to keep scoring, whether it be a touchdown, field goal, we're going to keep scoring and you've got to keep up. And which means that our defense is going to get opportunities to take the ball away because you're going to press.
Yeah.
So,
and I think you have enough playoff experience now on this team to where you're not going to get caught looking. You're not going to be looking at Philly because we haven't mentioned the overlooking factor yet.
mm-hmm.
I don't
see how they could overlook the Cowboys.
I think you'd be surprised though, man. Like when you're rolling, teams will get a little arrogant when they're rolling, like when you're mopping people up and you're winning games big and you're getting that feeling. Sometimes that, seeing that prize at the top of the hill, that prize can start to get a little brighter and a little brighter and a little brighter, and you can trip up, I mean, that might've happened last year against us, honestly, and we're just, because the Rams, we beaten you one time in 8 games and it was that one, you know what I mean? And I don't think we did anything too magical. It was just sort of like it was just sort of like a thing. But I don't see you guys, I think now, especially with that run last year, probably taking the lessons from that game. The great majority of that roster is still intact. And then again, you have a more efficient quarterback who doesn't have the experience, but has guys around him that do, and I don't think you guys could possibly get caught of looking ahead to a trip to the cold in Philly. I think you're going to go out and handle business. Like I said, maybe a half of interesting football. And then I think it's just going to become a runaway train after that,
Well, I hope so. But with that being said, we're going to get out of here with the preview show. Make sure that everybody tunes in for because I will be doing a reaction show after, come win or lose. I will be here after the game. Probably a little bit after the game, to get my reaction and let you guys get your reactions off. So bring your questions, bring your comments, most of all, enjoy the game. Enjoy the game. It's going to be an exciting game regardless. Just enjoy the game, enjoy the playoffs, and enjoy the ride. Nate, appreciate you coming on. And it's always a pleasure to have you on when you have the time. But don't forget, share, make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend so we can be friends every week. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and get your likes in, hit the bell for the notifications, and check if you need to check it out on the audio and you don't want to look at my face, please check out the audio version. But with that being said, we're going to get out of here and appreciate it. Oh, wait, before we get out of here, my cousin Kevin, who's a huge Cowboy fan. Of course, he says, since Dak has returned from injury, the Cowboys have been top 3 in scoring offense. Y'all love to play zone coverage, just like the Eagles, and Dak succeeds against zone coverage. We played zone coverage last year, man. and they were whooping Dak around. And we don't have Jimmy this year. So I think, cousin, it's going to be a little bit different of a story this game. We shall see, but I will be right here for you after the game. I promise you. With that being said, like I said, and he says good content. Appreciate you for coming through, Kevin. With that being said, we're going to get out of here, but like I said, enjoy the game, guys. And, I'm going to always end it with Go Niners.